Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was recently released for the Wii U. The series has developed somewhat of a reputation for being impenetrable, so with these videos I'd like to help dispel that image. This video will be dealing with weapons available to Blademasters, but I will talk about more later, including armour, crafting, bowguns, and even the farm. There are three kinds of weapon in Monster Hunter: those that deal cutting damage, those that deal impact damage, and those that deal both. Cutting damage will do more damage to certain parts of monsters, whereas impact damage will cause more damage to other parts of monsters, as illustrated in this diagram for the Kurupeko. I'm now going to give a brief overview of every weapon available to Blademasters in the game. Hopefully you'll see something you'll like. The Humble Sword and Shield is an excellent weapon for getting started, and through their application of special effects they can easily stay relevant throughout the entire game. While they don't do as much damage as the Greatsword, the fast attack speed means that you can keep putting the hurt on regularly. Tap the X and A buttons to unleash a fast flurry of attacks, and hold the left stick forwards and press the A buttons to initiate a shield bash, which can deal KO damage if it strikes in the head. Be aware that blocking gives you a different set of attack animations, and the jumping attack, used by pressing X and A together, serves as an excellent gap closer. The other secret these weapons have is being able to use items while the weapon is drawn. Simply hold block, then press the Y button to use whichever item you have selected. The dual swords are the fastest weapon in the game. Similar to the sword and shield, with a few key differences. The inability to block means you need to be much more mobile to avoid attacks, but the weapons make up for it by being the fastest weapons available. While there is the temptation to mash the attack buttons like you're playing God of War, approaching situations with strategy is the key to victory. By pressing the R button you can activate Demon Mode. Demonizing constantly drains your stamina, but charges your spirit bar, granting you new attacks and combos, and a dash instead of a roll and dodge. When the spirit bar is fully charged, you'll do even more damage than before. The downside of the dual swords is that they lose sharpness very quickly compared to other weapons, so remember to bring extra whetstones with you. Experimentation is recommended with these weapons, and the range of abilities offered with demonizing means you can pull off ridiculous combos. The longsword is a very versatile weapon, with good reach, speed, and damage. The long lunging and thrusting attacks on the X and A buttons can be comboed together to keep damage constant. The most handy attack is the Fade Slash that doubles as a backstep, activated by pressing X and A together. Every basic attack that connects charges the Spirit Bar, and when it's full you receive a boost to your damage, as well as being able to use the Spirit Blade attack. By repeatedly tapping the R button, you can unleash an extended combo. Hitting with the very last strike of the combo increases the power of your weapon for a limited time. This action can be repeated 3 times, increasing the charge of it. Keeping your longsword fully charged is the key to success with this weapon. The Greatsword is the most powerful weapon in the entire game, and the ability to charge attacks only enhances that strength. This is balanced by the weapon being very slow, both in terms of movement and attack speed, so in order to navigate the battlefield, it is best to sheathe your weapon and get into position. The Greatsword also has the ability to block, but it comes at the cost of damaging the weapon's sharpness. Charging up the attacks is the Greatsword's main calling. Once you start charging, you're unable to move until the attack is completed. There are 3 stages of the charge. and if released at the exact moment you see a bright blue flash, then you'll do the most damage, as well as carrying a strong chance of knocking the monster down. In order to be used to its full potential, you need a strong grip and positioning, so I don't recommend starting with this weapon. However, it is capable of dealing the highest amount of raw damage. The lance is unmatched in terms of defensive power, able to advance while blocking at the cost of stamina, as well as advancing quickly with a weapon drawn to close distance. The lance itself has a lot in common with the gun lance, but has a few key differences that make it much more of a versatile weapon. The charging attack, by pressing X and A while blocking, allows you to close distance while causing damage. The guard advance is activated by pressing forwards and A while blocking, and it can also be followed up with the shield bash. You can also charge up a more powerful strike by holding the A button while blocking. Lances also have a backstep instead of a dodge, and cause cutting and impact damage, meaning when causing damage to specific monster parts, you're guaranteed to do the most damage possible with your weapon. The gun lance is much more offense oriented than the regular lance. Its arsenal of 2, 3 or 5 shells are able to increase its damage output drastically. The gun lance also shares the property of the lance where it causes impact and cutting damage, which is invaluable in certain fights. The shells can be fired mid-combo for an easy damage boost, or they can be fired after a downward smash attack to expel all shells at once in a very damaging attack. To perform the downward smash, simply press X 3 times while stationary. The gun will require reloading once all of the shells are depleted, and this can be done either by holding down R and pressing A, or by pressing A after dodging. A quick reload is also available by tapping A just after firing a shot. The signature move of the gun lance is the Wyvern Fire. Used by pressing X and A while blocking, Wyvern Fire has a long cooldown and warm-up, but it's incredibly powerful. An expert gun lancer will know how best to use all the abilities available to them. The hammer is excellent for keeping monsters pinned down and unable to even move. All attacks done by the hammer cause KO damage, so striking monsters' heads continuously will eventually cause a knockout, leaving them open for a fully charged brutal strike. For the most part, the regular 3-hit combo is going to be the main source of damage with the hammer, but by holding down the R button, you can charge up several different attacks. Experiment with the different attacks, and remember that you perform different strikes if you're pushing the stick to move. The only drawback of the hammer is that it lacks much of the range of other weapons, and does not have much in the way of a gap closing attack, but when in position you can do incredible damage. The hunting horns are generally considered the standard support weapon, able to keep your team supported with positive buffs. However, horns also do plenty of damage by themselves, and in fact will do more sustained damage than the hammer. In order to play a song on the horn, take note of the coloured aura each attack gives off. Every attack that goes through will add a note to the staff. There's a different one for X, A, as well as X and A. If you play these in the right combination, you will hear a chime, and you can press R to play the horn. The buffs you receive are very powerful. allowing the hunters anything ranging from a quick health boost to increased damage or unlimited stamina. A good horn player is an indispensable part of any hunting party. The switch axe is the most versatile, but also one of the most complex weapons in the game. It has strong damage like the greatsword, attack speed comparable to the longsword, as well as being able to dodge roll or sidestep. When the energy bar is charged up and has turned yellow, press the R button to transform into sword mode to gain access to a new moveset, as well as a resource called File. File grants each attack with bonuses depending on which weapon is used. You can switch to sword mode quickly by pressing R after using the X attack while pressing forwards on the left stick. And you can switch back to axe mode by pressing A, then pressing R quickly after. Being in sword mode drains the energy meter, and when it empties, it will automatically switch back to axe mode and need to be reloaded before it can enter sword mode again. Press R when the energy is depleted to reload the weapon. The energy bar also refills by successfully landing attacks, as well as passively over time when in axe mode or sheathed, and can only be reloaded when the energy bar has turned red. There is a lot to the switch axe, more than I have time to go into here, but there's one attack I really want to mention. While in sword mode, press X and A, then rapidly press X to perform a powerful nuke, similar in appearance to the whip and fire attack of the gun lance. No single weapon in Monster Hunter is the best. Each is situationally better than every other one. All I can recommend is that you try as many of the weapons as you can, and find those that you really enjoy. Special thanks to Ethan Steele for helping with fact checking, and hugs and kisses to Sean and Andy from Midnight Resistance. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me on Twitter or in a comment below. Thanks for watching, there's going to be more on this series on the way soon.